Olive saw beautiful plants and flowers everywhere. She was in the jungle. Olive was wearing an explorer's hat and boots. She had a camera and a magnifying glass.
I have everything I need to explore this place.
She was about to set off when she noticed something odd. Some leaves which seemed to float along above the ground. Olive took out her magnifying glass and looked closer at the leaves.
Those leaves aren't floating. Tiny ants are carrying them to their anthill.
Olive photographed the ants and walked off into the trees. First, she passed a splashing waterfall. Olive took a photo with her camera. Next, she passed an enormous blue flower. She took a photo of that too. Finally, she found herself on a cliff top where she took a photo of the spectacular view. Olive thought she'd stop to take a rest. Suddenly, she heard a little voice.
I'm lost. Could you please help me find my way back home?
Olive turned and saw a brightly coloured parrot.
Well, sure. I'd love to help you. I'm Olive.
Well, sure. I'd love to help you. I'm Olive.
Olive was confused.
No, my name's Olive. What's yours?
No, my name's Olive. What's yours?
Wait, why are you repeating everything I say?
Wait, why are you repeating everything I say?
I'm sorry. I should probably be getting on my way.
I'm sorry. I should probably be getting on my way. No, please don't go. I really am lost. My name is Anthony the Ant, and I really want to go home.
I think you're a parrot, not an ant.
I think you're a parrot.
Okay, that's enough.
Said Olive. Olive held her magnifying glass up to the parrot's face, and sitting on top of the parrot's head was a tiny little ant.
You see, I'm using the parrot to talk for me because my voice is so tiny and quiet.
Olive plucked the ant carefully from the parrot's head, and the parrot flew away.
It's good to meet you, Anthony. Maybe I can help you find your way home.
Well, I live in a huge anthill. Have you seen it?
You mean like this one?
Yes, that's my home. Can you take me there, Olive?
Olive wasn't sure she knew which direction to take. It was then she remembered all the other photos she'd taken while walking all day, and could see she had made footprints as she walked.
A trail of footprints showing where I came from. And lots of photographs. I think I may have an idea.
Olive placed Anthony on her shoulder and began walking back, retracing the footprints she'd left.
If I look through my photos, I can find your anthill, Anthony.
Using the photos, she walked back, past the spectacular view, then past the enormous blue flower, and then past the splashing waterfall. Finally, Olive and Anthony arrived back at the anthill. Loads of ants came out to welcome him home. They were so pleased, they picked Olive up and cheered.
I think I might be getting ants in my pants.
Exclaimed Olive. Olive and the ants all laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Actually, I helped an ant in the jungle.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next till she popped up somewhere new. It was a very dusty, hot place, with tumbleweed rolling past. Olive was on a cowboy ranch in the wild west of America. She was wearing a cowboy hat and cowboy boots. All of a sudden, she heard stamping feet and a loud wail. A little goat was riding along on the back of a huge bull. He was getting bumped about all over the place.
Help! Help!
The bull screeched to a halt, sending the poor goat somersaulting through the air. He landed at Olive's feet with a thump.
Oh, are you okay?
Asked Olive.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine, ma'am. Howdy, I'm Billy the Kid. What name do you go by?
I'm Olive. Pleased to meet you, Billy. Is there anything I can do to help?
Well, I just can't get these darn bulls into the barn. My daddy's gone to town and left me in charge of the ranch. He'll be real proud of me if I get them inside before sundown.
I'd be glad to help. What have you tried so far?
Well, I've tried lassoing them. I've tried shouting at them. Move your big behind right now. And I've tried poking them.
Maybe I can think of something.
Olive looked about and saw Billy's lasso lying on the ground. She also spotted a tall stack of hay bales inside the barn. She glanced back at the bulls and saw that they were grazing on clumps of hay.
A lasso. Some bales of hay. I think I may have an idea.
With Billy the Kid's help, Olive tied a bale of hay around herself using his lasso. Then she stood in front of the barn doors.
Yoo-hoo! Bulls, tasty hay!
The bulls looked up and began to trot towards Olive.
It's working. They're trotting towards the barn.
The bulls started munching on Olive's bale of hay. Unfortunately, Olive was very ticklish.
Oh, that tickles! Stop it! Stop it!
Billy looked at Olive and was worried.
Stop it! Stop it!
Cried Billy.
Stop it, bulls, please!
Immediately, the bulls stopped munching and looked up at Billy the Kid.
Why, sure thing, kid.
Said one of the bulls.
I think I've got it. Excuse me, bulls. I know you'd make Billy here very happy if you all went inside the barn. Please.
Oh, yeah. Yes, please.
Said Billy, catching on.
Well, of course we will. We bulls love politeness. You should have just asked nicely, saying please the first place, Billy.
Billy and Olive led all the bulls into the barn.
Oh, why, thank you very much. See you in the morning, fellas.
Just as the sun was setting, Billy's dad arrived home from town.
Howdy, partners.
Said Billy's dad.
Jeepers, you've done a fine job today, son. Any trouble getting those bulls into that there barn?
Well, just a little bit.
Said Billy with a smile.
But we're just pleased to get the job done.
Said Olive. They all laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Actually, I've been a cowgirl in the Wild West.
Your head's been in the sun too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure until she popped up somewhere new. Olive was outside in the rain, right in the middle of a large muddy field. She was wearing a maroon-coloured shirt and was holding an umbrella to keep her dry.
Oh, but I'm wearing a sports kit.
There was a goal at each end of the muddy field, and behind one of the goals there was a large tree laden with apples.
Hey, number 7.
Shouted a tall pig with a clipboard.
Hello, I'm Olive.
I'm Sean Curlytail. I coach the Richmond Hockey Hogs.
He said, pointing towards a group of pigs all wearing the same maroon kit as Olive.
And you must be our missing team member.
Oh, how exciting.
Problem is, you're not the only thing missing. Today, I forgot to bring the hockey sticks and hockey balls. We can't play hockey without them.
Olive looked at the big apple tree.
Some apples. My umbrella. I think I may have an idea.
Olive organised the team into a large pyramid with hair at the very top. Olive hooked her umbrella around a branch that had lots of apples hanging down from it. She shook the branch and all the apples fell off it and tumbled to the ground.
Oh, this is all well and good, and apples are very tasty. But how does this help us play hockey?
Well, a hockey ball is small and round like an apple. And a hockey stick is a long straight stick with a curve on the bottom, a bit like this umbrella.
Oh, brilliant idea, Olive. But to play a game of hockey, we all need a stick. Excuse me.
Piped up a small pig.
I'm Sophie Swine, the captain of the Hogs. Why don't we have a penalty shootout? We only need one stick for that. Great idea!
Said Sean, and he quickly organised the competition. Each pig would get one shot on goal using an apple as the ball and Olive's umbrella as the hockey stick. Sophie Swine volunteered to play in goal. Everyone took turns to shoot. Some shot too high, some shot too low. But every time, Sophie would get in the way of the apple ball and eat it, stopping it going into the goal. For one shot, she even did a backward somersault, landing on her feet and gobbling up the apple.
Well, you're the last player, Olive. No one has managed to get a goal yet. So if you score a goal now, then you're the winner.
Olive took a long run up and swung for the apple ball. But the pitch was so wet, she slipped. Her shot had lost all of its power. Olive watched as the ball rolled slowly towards the line. But instead of saving the apple ball by eating it, Sophie simply let it roll through her legs and into the goal.
Goal!
Shouted Sean.
Olive's the winner!
The other pigs cheered and lifted Olive high into the air.
Gek! I'm glad I won. Sophie, why didn't you save my shot?
Sorry, I would have done, but my tummy's too full of apples,
said Sophie before letting out a huge burp. They all laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Gek, actually, I've been playing a wonderful game of hockey.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't. The sun was high in the sky, and Olive found herself in the middle of a desert. She was wearing a strange hat.
Oh, Gek, what a big fancy hat. But where am I? And what are these big spiky things? Are they some sort of plant?
Suddenly, something long and squiggly appeared right behind Olive. When she noticed it, she was so surprised she stumbled back straight into one of the spiky plants.
Gek! Ow! Ow! Me bottom! Me bottom! Oh!
I'm sorry. Please let me help you.
Olive sighed, relieved.
I'm Olive. Thanks so much for pulling out those horrible spikes. I didn't hear you coming. That's why I got so surprised.
Hola, I am Reptilina. I am a rattlesnake. Sorry that I scared you.
That's okay. I could see you're not scary.
Whenever I try to make friends, they always get scared away. Other rattlesnakes have rattles on their tails, so you can hear them coming. But mine, it don't work, see? People get scared of snakes, especially when they can't hear them coming.
Well, we'll have to find something that can make your tail sound again.
Olive looked around the desert. Soon, she spotted an old bicycle horn.
Oh, this will make a great new sound for your tail.
She carefully attached the horn to Reptilina's tail, and Reptilina tried it out.
It's a nice sound, but not quite right.
What about these?
Olive had found some bells on the ground. Reptilina tried them instead of the horn.
It's a bit closer, but my tail should rattle, you know.
Olive looked around once more. She spotted some rubbish left after a campfire.
An empty can of beans, some small rocks, and a stick. I think I may have an idea.
Olive put the small rocks and the stick inside the can. Then she attached it to Reptilina's tail.
Give this a try.
Olive, this is perfect. Thank you so much.
Suddenly, Olive and Reptilina heard some music. Two men in big hats appeared. Both were playing guitars.
Hola, we are local mariachi band, and that is beautiful sounding rattling tail you have.
Why, thank you.
Replied Reptilina.
Hey, our drama. He is very ill after eating a mega spicy burrito, and now we can't keep our rhythm.
Said the other mariachi.
But maybe you, your amazing rattling tail, could join our band.
I think I'm too shy.
Reptilina said sadly.
Don't be shy, Reptilina.
Said Olive.
I'll even join in myself.
Olive picked up the horn.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. This must be the best sounding rattle tail ever.
Olive played along with Reptilina and the mariachi band until the sun was setting.
Thanks so much for getting me my rattle back.
Said Reptilina.
And thanks for finding us a new rhythm section.
Said the mariachi.
That's okay.
Said Olive.
I was a bit rattled when I first arrived, but now I feel just fine.
They all laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
typical Olive, daydreaming again.
said her mum.
Gek, actually, I was in a band with a rattlesnake.
Your head's been in the sun too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her. Olive was standing on a large grey planet. She was wearing a strange helmet that was attached to a big backpack.
Oh, look at the sky. Isn't it beautiful?
Suddenly, a little green man popped out of one of the holes. He was carrying a bright red handbag.
Oh dear, oh dear.
He said as he hurried past Olive.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Hello, my name's Olive. What's the hurry?
The little green man stopped.
Oh hello. My name is Buzzapalema Hoopilaga Roopilaba Bababaja Camu Beep. But you can call me Sarah.
Oh, Sarah. That's an odd name for a little man.
Well, of course, I am an alien.
That's true. Nice to meet you, Sarah. I've never met an alien before.
Well, it's nice to meet you too, but I'm in a real hurry. Can't stop and chat.
But why are you in such a rush?
It's my mum's birthday, and I've bought her a sunstone. Problem is, I'm so forgetful I've gone and forgotten where I've put it, and my mum will be here in her spaceship any minute now.
Oh, dear. I could help you look, but I don't know what a sunstone looks like.
Sarah opened his handbag and took out a large pad of paper and some crayons.
I'm a great drawer. I can draw you a picture of a sunstone, and then maybe you could help me look for it, Olive.
Sarah sat down and drew a lovely picture of a big red stone. Olive looked thoughtfully at the drawing.
Your picture's really good. In fact, it's so good, I think I may have an idea. Why don't you draw lots and lots of pictures of the sunstone and write missing across it in big letters? I'll pin them up, and then if anyone sees the stone, they'll know where to hand it in.
So Sarah sat and drew picture after picture after picture. And Olive ran all around the planet, pinning them anywhere and everywhere. Eventually, the whole planet was covered in pictures of the sunstone. Olive and Sarah waited and waited and waited.
Oh dear, no one's come to tell us they found the sunstone. And after all that work we did.
Oh, hang on. I forgot. No one else lives on this planet but me.
Oh, so no one else is going to see our posters anyway? Well, now we're never going to find the sunstone. The whole planet is covered in our posters.
Oh no, here comes my mum.
Just then, Sarah's mum arrived in her spaceship. She was wearing a beautiful red stone around her neck, just like the ones in the pictures.
Oh, my goodness.
Sarah's mum exclaimed.
You've decorated the whole planet for my birthday. And thank you so much for this lovely sunstone. It arrived in a space mail this morning.
Olive shook her head and chuckled.
Sarah, you're so forgetful. You forgot you'd already sent the sunstone to your mum in the space mail. Maybe you should write everything down so you don't forget things in the future.
Of course, that's what the crayons and the paper were for.
They all laughed. And as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Okay, actually, I've been to another planet and helped an alien.
Your head's been in the sun too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening.
This is a spectacular place.
Olive saw a man with a huge curly moustache. He wore a red and black tunic with a crown on the front.
I'm Olive. Where am I, please?
I'm Beefy the Beefeater. You're on a tour of the Tower of London.
He answered.
I'm in London.
Olive found a camera hanging around her neck and snapped a few pictures.
And if you look to your right, you'll see the ravens. Tradition says they must never leave the tower, or the kingdom will fall. And not a single one has. Not on my watch, anyhow.
Hello, what's your name?
Olive asked.
Roberta,
And why do you look so sad, Roberta?
because I really want to explore London, like those tourists over there. I want to see all the sights, Big Ben, Buckingham Palace, and especially Trafalgar Square.
But of course you can't leave the tower.
said Olive.
No, and Beefy is always watching and counting us.
So you need to somehow get away without Beefy realising.
Olive looked around and saw an ice cream van nearby. She also saw a lady tourist wearing a long black raincoat.
An ice cream van. A black raincoat. I think I may have an idea. Please, can I borrow your raincoat?
Olive asked the lady, who nodded. Then she bought an ice cream cone from the ice cream van. Olive put on the black raincoat and stuck the cone onto her own beak, using the ice cream to make it stick. She looked just like a raven. Well, almost.
I'll pretend to be you, Roberta, while you go to see the sights of London.
Wow, great idea.
When Beefy was looking the other way, Roberta made a dash through the tower gates. Olive tried to blend in with the other ravens, but she was so tall she really stuck out. What was worse, the ice cream cone was melting, dripping into a growing puddle at her feet. Beefy walked over and began counting the ravens.
1, 2, 3, 4.
When he got to Olive, he stopped and raised an eyebrow. Said Olive. It was a pretty good impression of a raven. Beefy shrugged and continued to count.
5, 6 ravens. Excellent.
But now, Olive's ice cream had melted so much, the cone fell off her beak.
Hang on a raven counting minute. You're not a raven. You're an ostrich. I'd better count again.
Oh no, he's going to realise there's one raven missing.
Beefy began to count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5?
But just in the nick of time, Roberta came swooping in over the Tower of London's walls. She landed just behind Beefy. Said Roberta loudly. Beefy spun round.
Aha! There's number 6, all safe and sound. What was I thinking? It's not like these ravens ever leave the tower. Not on my watch, anyway.
Beefy walked off to get his dinner.
No, us ravens never leave the tower.
Chuckled Roberta. This made Olive and the other ravens laugh too. And as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Okay, actually, I've been a raven in the Tower of London.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming. Olive was standing in the middle of a large field with white lines painted on it. There was a net across the middle. She was wearing a little white skirt and a sun visor. Close by, 2 very tired-looking giraffes sat on a bench. Olive was about to walk over and talk to the giraffes when all of a sudden a ball went flying past her head, followed by another and another.
Oh, please stop, you're going to hit me.
Sorry, man, I didn't see you there.
Olive saw a curly-haired toad wearing white shorts and holding a racket.
I'm John McIntoad, and I'm trying to train for an important match, but my training partners Virginia and Wade are too tired to play.
Oh, I'm Olive. If Virginia and Wade are too tired, maybe I can help you train.
Well, sure. Do you play tennis?
I don't even know what tennis is.
You cannot be serious. This is a tennis court. This is my tennis racket. Surely everyone knows what tennis is.
I'm afraid not. Will you teach me?
Sure, I guess I could. First you need a racket like mine. It's what you use to hit the ball.
John gave Olive a lovely pink racket from his bag.
Now you go down to that end, and when I hit the tennis ball over the net to you, you try and hit it back, okay?
Olive swung her racket a couple of times to get ready. John threw the ball high above his head and hit it over the net. It was going so fast, Olive couldn't reach it in time. John tried again and again, but each time he hit the ball so hard that Olive couldn't hit it back. Then John smashed the ball really hard. It whizzed over the net and hit Olive right on the wing, making her spin around. Into the net, feathers flying everywhere.
I've broken the net!
Exclaimed Olive. John McIntoad ran over and stuck a long strip of sticky plaster on Olive's wing.
Don't worry about the net. I hope I haven't hurt you, Olive.
Oh no, I'm fine, John. but I'm afraid I haven't given you much tennis practice.
Olive looked around and suddenly thought of something.
Some feathers, a ball, some sticky plasters. I think I may have an idea.
Olive picked up one of the balls and carefully started to stick feathers to the ball with the sticky plasters. Next, she asked Virginia and Wade to hold up the net.
Oh, that's a bit higher than before.
Once the net was in position, John tossed the feather-covered ball above his head and hit it over the net. With the feathers on it, the ball was now going slower and Olive could reach it. She hit the ball back this time to John.
This is what we call a rally,
said John, hitting the ball back to Olive. Olive and John hit the ball back and forth, high and low, fast and slow. They played the tennis rally all afternoon until eventually John hit the ball too low and it landed in the net.
Ugh, I think that's enough practice for one day,
said John, breathing heavily and looking exhausted.
Thanks for the game, although I'm not sure I'm really very good at tennis.
Well, you were amazing at featherball. You've invented a whole new game.
Heck, have I? Oh, let's hope it doesn't catch on. I don't want to lose any more feathers.
They both laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Okay, actually, I invented a new game called Featherball.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear,
said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her neck. Olive was standing in a room with lots of metal boxes, making strange whirring noises. There were huge piles of clothes everywhere, and she was wearing blue overalls. Just then, a sock flew out of one of the piles, narrowly missing Olive's head. Exclaimed Olive.
Oh, I didn't see you there,
said a small man who'd appeared from behind a mountain of clothes.
I'm Dudley Sud. It's a pleasure to meet you.
He shook Olive's wing enthusiastically.
I'm Olive. Nice to meet you too. What are all these piles of clothes?
Laundry, of course. This is Dudley Sud's laundrette, and we have way too much laundry to do today. Problem is, it's all very important. We must wash all the tablecloths for Pedro's Pizza Parlour, then wash all the towels for Humphrey's Hotel, and then wash all the football kits for the Wixley Wanderers Football Club. It all needs to be delivered by 5 o'clock, and it's already 3:30. Oh!
Well, we'd better get started then.
Dudley showed Olive how to operate the machines.
You put the laundry in here, pour in the soap powder, and turn the dial like this.
Got it,
said Olive confidently. They both worked quickly, loading the machines and setting them going. Olive thought she would pour in a little extra washing powder to get the job done quickly. It all seemed to be going very smoothly. But then, all of a sudden, bubbles started to pour out of one of the machines.
Oh dear, that's not right,
exclaimed Dudley, shaking his head.
Olive, you must have put too much washing powder into the machines.
The bubbles began to form a puddle on the floor until eventually they covered the whole shop and were still rising. Soon Dudley and Olive were up to their necks in bubbles.
Oh no, what are we going to do?
Olive spotted some round metal things poking down from the ceiling.
What are those for?
Those are sprinklers. They spray water all over the place if there's a fire.
Some sprinklers that spray water all over the place? I think I may have an idea.
Olive pressed a big red button on the wall to turn the sprinklers on. Water sprayed out everywhere.
Oh no, what have you done now, Olive? You're going to flood me laundrette.
That's the idea, Dudley. Now open that door.
Dudley opened the door. The bubbles flooded out of the door and into the street. Olive's plan was working. But there was a problem. All the tablecloth, towels and football kits were disappearing out of the laundrette and down the street, along with the bubbles.
Stop that laundry!
Shouted Dudley as he and Olive chased the bubbles and the laundry down the street. They chased the laundry past Pedro's Pizza Parlour, then on past Humphrey's Hotel,
Towels!
Then finally past Wixley Wanderers Football Club.
Well, I never,
said Dudley, as he inspected the football kits hanging on the goal.
That was a bit of luck.
Yes.
Said Olive, pointing down the street.
And we delivered all the laundry in time.
Dudley beamed.
Thank you, Olive. I couldn't have done this without you.
Working in a laundrette's loads of fun, but it's really hard. I'm feeling all washed out.
They both laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Okay, actually, I've been working in a fabulous laundrette.
Olive could see a big sloping ramp in front of her and hundreds of empty seats all around.
Oh, I wonder what this slopey thing is for.
Olive heard a strange buzzing noise.
Oh,
A man on a motorbike was flying through the air towards her.
okay.
He had to swerve to miss Olive and crashed into a pile of tyres.
Oh, hey, are you all right?
I think so.
The motorbike rider was wearing a sparkly cloak and a helmet.
My name's Darren. Daredevil Darren. I'm the world's greatest stunt rider.
Nice to meet you, Darren. I'm Olive. Sorry for knocking you off your motorbike. I didn't see you coming.
That's all right. I was just practicing a jump for my show tonight. There are hundreds of my fans coming. Ouch! But I think I've hurt my hand, and I can't steer my motorbike if my hand hurts.
Well, maybe I could do the jump for you.
But my fans have come to see Daredevil Darren. I can't let them down.
Olive spotted a store selling Daredevil Darren souvenirs.
A helmet? A cloak? I think I may have an idea. I'll hide under this cloak and steer the bike, and you can sit on my back. The audience will think you're doing the jump on your own.
Darren thought it was a great plan.
What can possibly go wrong?
It was time for the big jump. The crowd were cheering for Daredevil Darren. Olive was hiding under Darren's cloak. The crowd counted them down.
3, 2, 1, go!
Olive hit the pedal, and they were off. Olive and Darren sped towards the jump. But then the motorbike wobbled, and the cloak got tangled in the back wheel. And Darren was pulled off the bike.
This isn't good!
Cried Olive. The crowd weren't happy when they saw Olive was riding the bike and not Darren. Olive screamed as she flew off the end of the ramp. She jumped high in the air and crashed into a banner. She was flung through a ring of fire, over a tank of snapping crocodiles, and then over a double-decker bus. Olive somersaulted 3 more times on the bike before landing safely on the ramp.
That was a close one.
Oh, that was amazing.
Darren exclaimed.
Listen, the crowd love you.
Really?
Olive replied. The crowd thought Olive's bike stunt was brilliant,
I'm just glad to have my feet back on the ground.
said Olive.
I don't think flying's for me.
Olive and Darren waved to the audience and laughed. And as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Okay. Actually, I rode a stunt bike with Daredevil Darren.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next were buried in soft yellow sand. It was very hot and sunny,
Okay. Where am I?
said Olive. She could see 3 huge triangular-shaped buildings in the distance. Olive was so busy looking at the pyramids, she didn't notice the huge hole in the ground and fell right in. Olive picked herself up. There was someone in the middle of the hole, digging deeper and deeper into the sand.
Hello? Hello?
Called Olive. The digging stopped, and a small mole popped his head up and squinted at Olive.
Hello? Who's there? I cannot see you.
complained the mole.
Hello, I'm Olive. Nice to meet you.
I'm Horus Molius, archaeologist extraordinaire. Welcome to Egypt.
Egypt? How exciting! But what's an archaeologist?
An archaeologist is a discoverer of old things hidden underground, but today I'm just trying to find my mummy.
Explained Horus.
Oh, I've heard about these ancient Egyptian mummies that have been buried in the sand for thousands of years. I'd love to see one for real. Oh, why are you throwing all of these treasures away?
Olive pointed at a pile of sand containing lots of sparkly gems and jewels.
Oh, what treasure?
Said Horus. Olive held up a crystal, and Horus had a really close look at it.
Oh, you're right.
Said Horus.
I can't see a thing. I've lost my glasses somewhere in the desert.
Olive looked around and had a think.
Shiny crystals. An old whip. I think I may have an idea. There you go, Horus.
Said Olive. She had tied the whip around Horus's head, looping 2 crystals on it to make a pair of glasses.
Oh, I can see. I can see.
Horus cried. He was jumping for joy. But Horus's jumping had loosened the ground. It started to crack beneath their feet. Olive and Horus fell through the ground and disappeared.
Are you okay, Horus?
Asked Olive as she dusted herself down.
Yes, I'm all right.
Exclaimed Olive as she looked around in wonder. The room was full of all sorts of ancient Egyptian treasures.
Oh, back home again. That's a shortcut I've never used before. And I was close to my mummy all along. Mummy!
Cried Horus as he rushed to give his mummy a really big hug.
Welcome home, dear.
Said Horus's mum.
Oh! So you meant you were looking for your actual mummy, Horus. Nice to meet you, Mrs. Molius. I have to say, you look much younger than the mummy I was expecting. I thought we were looking for one of these.
They all laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Okay. Actually, I've been in Egypt looking for mummies.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure. Olive was standing on a steep slope covered in crunchy white snow. It was very cold. She was wearing a thick, puffy coat and a bobble hat.
I'm glad I've got these warm clothes.
Oh, yes, you can say that again.
Said a voice. Olive turned to see a little man with a huge bushy beard. He was only wearing a vest and pants. He was shivering quite a lot.
I'm Olive. Pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you. I'm Sir Edmund Hillertop, a famous mountaineer. I climb all the tallest mountains.
Oh, so is this a tall mountain?
Tall? Olive, old bean, this is Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world, and I'm climbing to the summit.
But, Sir Edmund, what's happened to all your clothes? Aren't you cold?
Oh, there was this huge gust of wind. It blew away all my warm clothes, along with my map, compass, and packed lunch. So now I'm rather chilly, hungry, and lost.
Well, I'm not sure how to help. I'm no mountaineer.
Suddenly, there was an enormous growl. Out from behind a rock jumped a huge, fairy, man-shaped thing. It was growling, and it didn't sound at all happy to see them.
Oh, that's the infamous Yeti! Run for it before he eats us for his dinner! Wait! He's got my map, compass, and packed lunch! Oi! Give those back!
Oh, I think that's the last we'll see of those. Oh dear. I think he's still hungry. Maybe he's going to eat us next.
She had to think fast.
Sir Edmund, do you have any food at all?
Well, I do have my emergency cupcake. Always keep one tucked away.
A cupcake? A hungry Yeti? I think I may have an idea.
Olive took the cupcake from Sir Edmund and held it out to the Yeti. The Yeti grabbed the cupcake and gobbled it down.
Yum.
Said the Yeti. He seemed very happy.
Oh, I think he wants your poles too, Edmund.
Said Olive. Edmund handed them over. The Yeti used them as needles to knit a long scarf out of his own fur. He gave it to Edmund. Edmund wrapped the scarf around himself.
Well, thanks very much. This Yeti scarf really is very warm.
I think he wants to lead us to the summit of Everest.
Said Olive. So Olive and Sir Edmund followed the Yeti all the way to the summit.
We've conquered Everest!
Beamed Sir Edmund.
And you're the first ever ostrich to climb it. Congratulations, Olive.
That's lovely. But how do we get down again?
Suddenly, the Yeti gave Olive and Sir Edmund a push. They went sliding all the way down Mount Everest on their bottoms, and the Yeti slid down behind. Cried Olive as she slid. At the bottom, they ended up in a snowdrift.
Oh, that was fun.
Thanks so much for all your help, Olive.
I think you've got yourself a new mountain climbing best friend forever.
Chuckled Olive. They all laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Cake? Actually, I climbed Mount Everest and met a Yeti.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive was...